Hey guys, Alex here from Boom Beach Bootcamp, and today I am bringing you another, well actually not another Boom Beach Let's Play. Basically this is a new game that I'm going to be bringing to the channel. It's going to be called This Means War. It's created by the company Tap Zen, if you guys know them. I think they're pretty new, but they're definitely going to be up and coming here because this game looks great. The graphics on it are really nice, and the gameplay, while it does have similarities to Clash and it does have similarities to Boom, it also brings some new types of things to it. So one thing I really like, you can have diagonal connections in walls. That's just a simple thing, but I don't know, it always made sense to me, and I really hated that you could never do that in any of these games. So obviously I'm a pretty low level in this. I just have a command center level 2. We're going to get that up to level 3 at the end of this video, but how about we just get into some raids and I'll sort of talk about the gameplay. Alright guys, so here we are with our first attack, and right off the bat you see this battle line, and basically from the left of that battle line I can deploy my troops, and as my troops cross over it, they push the battle line in the direction that they're moving. So the farther the battle line is to the right, that is the farther that I can deploy my troops, and the closer I can deploy them to my enemy's base. On the other side of that, basically, if I'm doing really poorly, then the enemy's troops, which deploy out of those bunkers, as you just saw up there, basically those can push the battle line in the opposite direction and make it harder for me to deploy troops near the enemy's base. So another cool little feature is that you can redeploy troops. As troops die in battle, they respawn. It takes a few seconds for them to respawn, but then you can replace them down in battle. So it allows you to reposition your troops, attack a base from different angles, and also to reinforce an attack that's already happening. Now, one thing that I think is really cool about this is that your defense isn't just towers. It's not like a tower versus personnel game. This also has bunkers. So you have vehicle bunkers, you have personnel bunkers, you also have aircraft bunkers. I don't have any of those at the moment. As you see right here, this is a little trick that you can do in the game. If you just drop one grunt, which is like the equivalent of like a barbarian, that'll stop the battle line from going in the enemy's direction. So just always make sure you have at least one unit on the other side to make sure you don't lose any ground with the battle line. Anyway, back to what I was saying. There are bunkers. There's the personnel bunker, the vehicle bunker, and I don't have one right now, but in the future there will be a aircraft hangar or bunker, whatever you want to call it. And basically what happens is when you get attacked, those deploy troops to attack the enemy's base, or in my case, it's attacking my base because I'm attacking this guy's base. So basically they will come out and they'll help defend your base or defend your enemy's base, depending on what's happening. And if you don't take out those troops when you're attacking someone's base, they will actually go past your troops and attack your own base. So this is sort of like a back and forth thing. You can actually lose resources during a raid. You'll see the amount of resources that you can lose isn't really like that much, so it doesn't really make a difference in the end game here. But the enemy can actually steal back stars. You'll see in a later raid, I started up on stars and then the enemy stole back stars and we went back and forth for a while. And that's another point about the game. To get stars, it is 40% gets you your first star, 70% gets you your second star, and 100% gets you your third star. It has nothing to do with command centers or anything like that. It is purely just basically percentage, which I think makes sense because, you know, if you were actually in war, and obviously this is not like real war, but if you were, I feel like if someone took out your command center, yeah, it would be bad, but I don't think that that would like give them a star. I guess that's not really something that happens in war, but it doesn't really make sense to me that taking out a command center automatically gives them a star. And that also prevents people from just leaving their command center out there to be taken out, like in Clash of Clans when you're farming, you would leave your town hall outside. That doesn't really happen in this. Although there is a form of farming in this game, and I'll show that in later videos. I'm actually sort of going to be showing it in this video. I know I'm going to lose this battle. He has a vehicle bunker and a personnel bunker that are both upgraded to level 2, so that's going to be pretty hard for my guys to take on. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose this battle, but since there's so much loot, I'm willing to take him on anyway because losing the trophies is sort of worth losing the, or not losing the, I'm trying to get this right. Losing the trophies is worth the amount of loot that you gain. So it's sort of like Clash of Clans in that aspect where you can farm to get loot and things, and you don't just have to like trophy hunt the whole time, like in Boom Beach. Alright, so in this, as you see, I'm trying to attack the front, and those personnel bunkers keep sending out rocket troopers, which are the guys with the big rockets on their shoulders, and grunts, which are the equivalent of like a barbarian. So they took out my guys in front, and now I'm sort of reassessing the situation. I thought that maybe I could get around those rocket troopers, but I guess not. I had to take them out. And now you see that Goliath tank comes out. Those can be deployed from the vehicle bunker, and they just rip apart my ATVs, which are my vehicles in this battle. The different units in this game, you can attack with ground, air, and vehicles. So like personnel, vehicles, and then air. And so the simplest unit is the grunt, which is, as I said, the equivalent of a barbarian. Then you have the rocket trooper, which is the equivalent of maybe like a wizard or like a Zuka. And then you have the ATVs. The ATVs, they don't really have much of an equivalent in other games. I guess their closest equivalent might be like a tank, but I would say the Goliath tank is actually more closely related to like the tank in Boom Beach. So anyway, you have the ATVs, and then later on in the game you get things like Goliath tanks, you get things like hackers and hijackers and all these really cool things. So there's a lot of different units, and what makes this a strategy game is that different units combat other units very well. So you'll see these ATVs really take on personnel well, whereas the rocket troopers really take on vehicles well. Then the tanks really do well against buildings and things like that. And then you will find that the air troops do really well against, I believe, personnel. I think it sort of varies on which type of air troop that you use, but I believe it's personnel that the air troops excel against. So obviously I'm still learning in this game. I just got it basically last night. It is not global yet. It is just in Canada and Australia, but it will be global very soon. They're saying by the end of this month. I just wanted to get you guys some gameplay early so that you could check it out and know if you wanted to get it when it went live. So obviously I'll be covering this game on this channel. It's going to be about 50-50 between Boom Beach and This Means War. I was thinking about bringing Clash of Clans to the channel, but I really think that it's better if I bring a newer game that's going to bring a different crowd to the channel, because Clash of Clans and Boom Beach, there's a lot of overlap there, and I think it's better if I bring like a whole new crowd of people to the channel to explore the content that I have. Anyway, so you see I did lose this. He got 2 stars. The only reason he didn't get 3 stars is because I managed to get 40% on his base, which stole a star back, and then he stole 3 stars. So 3 minus 1, that gave him 2 stars, and I lost a few trophies there. And then you'll also see reinforcements come back. So this is something sort of like Boom Beach, but you don't get all of your troops back. You only get a random percentage of your troops. So that's sort of a good thing and sort of a bad thing. I'd say it's a mix between Clash of Clans and Boom Beach in that regard. You don't get all of your troops back, but you do get some of them back. So sort of odd in that regard. Alright, so this base, I was sort of hesitant to attack because it did have those vehicle bunkers and personnel bunkers and things. But I felt like my base would hold up all right, and I could just go for this base here because it did have a pretty horrible setup. And you'll see the sides of the base, you can flank around them, so you can't like cover your edges completely and just make a giant wall, which is what this guy kind of didn't know about, because you'll see I can just walk around the edge of these walls right here to get at his command center. And now that we're getting a little bit closer to his vehicle bunker, we're having some issues with that. I dropped a ATV on the left over there just to distract his vehicles for a while and hopefully allow them to drive on, but it looks like they decided otherwise, and now they're going to come after my guys. So right here, that thing that my guy's shooting up in the top right is called a rocket launcher or missile launcher or something along those lines. Sorry guys, I really need to learn all of the lingo for this game. But basically it will only shoot at vehicles, but it does a really great job of taking out vehicles, guys. That thing will decimate any vehicle that comes at it. So what you want to do, if you're taking those on, you're going to want to drop your personnel in front of that, and then you're going to drop your vehicles on another side of the map to deal with the enemy's personnel and other parts of his base, basically. yeah, so the defensive buildings that you can get in this game, obviously there's the bunkers as I talked about, but you can also get those sentry towers, which is what's shooting at my guys right now. Along with that, you can get the missile launcher thing that I was talking about before, and then there's also a mortar that you can get. As far as traps, you can get a mine and you can get an ambush, which is basically like a hidden bunker almost, if that makes any sense. But those are just sort of like trapdoors, and when the enemy walks over them, they deploy certain types of troops to combat the enemy's troops that walk over it. So really cool ideas there, and obviously this is similar to Clash of Clans and Boom Beach and all of those sort of games, but it also has its own little flair. So I really think you guys should think long and hard before you're saying this is a rip-off, this is boring, stuff like that, because I think that if each game brings its own sort of flair to the whole genre, that it's not so much a rip-off but more of a evolution of that type of game. So anyway, guys, we are just about to take out this guy's command center, and he hasn't even gotten a percent on my base. So that's 100% for me, 3 stars, and quite a bit of loot there. So as you see, we can go back to my base after seeing that we got a few troops back, and now we're going to do some upgrades. So as I said, we will be upgrading my command center. I was going to get that, but since I have maxed out resources right now, I have to spend them on something. So the command center, we're going to upgrade that. It'll get us all this cool new stuff. And yeah, so I'm really excited to get that rocket launcher there. We'll have to see the official name for it in the next video. But the next thing I'm thinking about here, I want to collect that again. Still have full for supplies, which is sort of like elixir, I guess you could call it. So I finished off that building down there, and I managed to get another award, managed to collect that one, but still need to spend my resources so that I can pick up that award. So I'm going to spend it, I think, probably on the... Yeah, I'll spend it on the army camp. That seems like the smartest thing to do right now. Got to get all those spaces. And that's going to be it, guys. So thanks for watching, and boom on. Well, I guess this means war on. We'll have to come up with a better outro. Anyway, bye, guys.